What's going on, everybody? We are live right now. Dev Slopes in the house. What's going on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube? How's everybody's day going? It's Monday. Mondays are always good days. Um, I love Mondays. Every day is a good day when you're a coder, right? Live on your own schedule, your own routine, code around your own lifestyle. Who do we have here in Instagram? What's going on? Ling Shwaran, Idris, Varo Lucas, Mr. Sadatima, 2x8, what's going on? Wikas, Alk Knowledge, what's up? How we doing? TikTok, we've got Drerhain. And then on YouTube, it looks like you guys are still sleeping, but that's okay. We'll get it kicked off here. Community collections, not sub him. What's going on, everybody? Today is a good day. We're going to talk about learning to code in 2021. And we've talked about this a few times, but we keep getting new people, on these streams that are asking about how to get started, the future of programming. Is there a future? Is robots going to take over programming? And we're going to dive into all of that. And then any questions that you have about programming or getting started, go ahead and leave some comments below. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jason. I'm a full stack developer here at DevSlopes. So I get to build a lot of cool stuff. I primarily work in the MERN stack, which is Mongo, Express, React, and Node. And before DevSlopes, I was previously a full stack engineer at Dell Computers. So I worked there for a couple of years, learned a ton of stuff, and it was awesome. So now I'm coding over here at DevSlopes, and then I'm also the Web Academy coach, mentor, teacher, working with students every day to learn how to code, and then I help them take those skills they've worked so hard for and apply those in the real world to make money, whether that's freelancing or getting a job. I do the whole 9 yards, so learning to code and all the career prep stuff. My job's not over until my students get paid to make money. So how are we doing? YouTube, make some noise. Come on, make some noise. We're going to start over here with Instagram. Let me just check here if we've got any questions. And then I'll just maybe kick things off about, learning to code in 2021. Let's see, Andre, let's see. How much should someone with 6 months experience ask for a salary? 85K. So what are you, is this web development, iOS, Android? So 6 months experience, this is a good question. So what kind of technology stack are you working with first off? So for an example, I'm a self-taught developer. All right. Once I got the grasp of full stack development and I felt proficient in this, primarily I was doing the MERN stack, Mongo, Express, React, and Node. Before I was fully what I considered proficient, like I'm good enough to, land a job here. The very first job I landed, this was like 5 years ago or something, paid out $78,000 a year for my first job. All right. So 85K, that seems a little bit steep for, 6 months experience. Now, actually, you know what? Let me pull back here. Are you talking about 6 months experience in the field? Like if you have 6 months experience in the field, then I don't know. I would think after a year bumping up to 85, but it's not impossible. I know iOS developers, which app developers tend to make a little bit more than web developers. I know a handful of people. First, mobile app like iOS job out the gates after learning to code after about a year, started out at I think about 85. All right, let's see what else we have here. Knowledge Hub says everything's going good. That's great. I'm doing fantastic. Let's see. What should the salary for 2 years React experience? I would say in the US, okay, this is US based, and it's going to vary a little bit based on state location, wherever you are. 2-year salary as a React developer, I would say around the 90K mark. All right. It's very common across mobile and web development after 3 years on the job experience to be making 6 figures or more. So that's and if you have been coding for 3 years, like in the field already, and you're not making 6K, that, or I mean, 6 figures, then I would talk to your employer, negotiate your salary, and then, or even look for another job, because there are employers who will pay you 6 figures for sure. 1337 DZA. Hey, I need advice. I want to get a job as a front end developer. So, first off, I guess it really doesn't matter what technology stack you've chosen, like web or mobile. But what you should be doing, one of the things that's really going to aid in getting a front end position is a portfolio. And one of the best things you can do for your portfolio is freelance work. Okay, that's super credible work. That means somebody has paid you to build something, and that's impressive to an employer. Do not fill up your portfolio full of, tutorial projects, okay, things that you did with a tutorial. That's not impressive because you just followed along. You need actual projects, things that you've built, that you had to problem solve and create. So once you've maybe got a few freelance projects under your belt as part of your portfolio, then you should just start applying to everything, okay? And don't worry about the job description, okay? Well, first off, don't be doing a job search for a junior position, okay? Get that crap out of there. Just look for developer in your field, whether that be JavaScript, web, or, mobile app developer, whatever, okay? Just look for a position like that. Sure, stay wary, like maybe stay away for now if you're new from things that are looking for lead developers or senior developers. Okay, let the company decide kind of where your level of programming is at. And then on top of that, what else? Just start applying like crazy. And if something says required, call computer science degree, ignore it. You should apply anyways. And here's why. For an example, I'm a self-taught developer, okay? When I moved here to Texas, I left my other development position, came to Texas, and was looking for work. And I was applying to all these jobs. I was getting rejected, started to ruin my self-confidence. It's like, I've been coding for 4 years already. What's going on? But then I saw a position at Dell Computers, and it said required computer science degree, required 5 years of JavaScript and 3 years of React. Well, at the time when I applied, I only had about 3.5 years in JavaScript, 1 year in React, and no computer science degree. And guess what? I got the job. So don't pay attention so much as to what the requirements are. Ignore computer science degree. At the end of the day, all a company wants is somebody who can code. Can you code or can you not? Can you deliver results or can you not? All right. They just want people who can code. All right, TikTok, I'm going to hop over here in just a moment. Then YouTube will get to you with some questions here. Let's see, Connor, I think app developer salary is going to decline. Is not too long. I don't know. I don't think, everything that I'm seeing in the industry, like I'm fully submerged in this. I do not see app development declining. There are so many companies or businesses building a product around their brand around an app and things like that. So there's always going to be a need for native app development, whether that be iOS or Android. Okay, there is cross-platform, like you've got Flutter and React Native for two simple examples. However, those two technologies haven't been widely adopted into the industry yet, like with these other companies. You'll find that more so used in freelance work and in some small startup companies, but these larger companies just haven't adopted it yet. Okay, they've got the funds and the development power to build natively to both iOS and Android. So for the foreseeable future, I don't see any decline in it at all. But that's just my experience. Let's see, how long does it take to be a full stack web developer? If you're like at it every day. So here's the thing about learning to code. Okay, if you want to be successful learning to code, you've got to put in like 2 hours minimum every single day, at least 5 days a week. Okay, you can't code for like 3 days and then take a break for a week and then get back into it. No, you are learning a brand new language. Okay, you are learning to write in an entirely new syntax. Okay, and you are learning to think in a way that is completely unique. Okay, solving problems programmatically. All right, it's a different way of thinking and solving problems than almost everything else. All right. So there's these three core principles that you are learning, and you have to be consistent to learn it. Now, to come back to your question, how long to be a full stack developer? I would say you should probably be able to learn all the core essentials and become proficient as a full stack developer within probably a year. All right. But here's the thing, companies aren't going to be hiring junior full stack developers. Okay. They don't want you messing with APIs, backend databases, which you could possibly mess up or corrupt user data. Okay. There's all the security and other things that are involved in it. The easiest thing to do is get a job as a front end developer. All right. And then transition your way into backend. It's incredibly uncommon to find junior positions for full stack developers. All right. We're going to hop over here to TikTok. Let's see. I want to take web developer. Okay. If you want to do web development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, okay, then dive into something like React. That's the smoothest transition from JavaScript into a different like library, UI library. So that's what I would do. Also, if you want to work with somebody like me and get some mentoring and some coaching and work with somebody that's going to help you land freelance jobs or, land a job, then go to devslopes.com/apply. I'm the Web Academy instructor. That's what I do all day. I code stuff for DevSlopes, and then I work with students to help them learn how to code and get jobs and get paid. That's super important for us at DevSlopes. So devslopes.com/apply if you would like some mentorship. And we've got these academies, online boot camps for iOS, Android, and web. Most useful coding languages. Okay, so most useful is going to be anything in web development. Okay, that's HTML, CSS, JavaScript, a UI library like React, or a framework like Angular. Okay, both of those really big in the industry right now. Also, mobile development, native mobile development, iOS or Android development is big. Those are probably the three largest. Now, Python is another really popular language, but as far as opportunity goes to freelancing and employment, it's a little bit smaller of a niche versus like standard web development working with JavaScript. What kind of developer are you? I'm a full stack developer here at DevSlopes. I work in the MERN stack, Mongo Express, React, and Node. What do you think about cybersecurity? I think cybersecurity is awesome. It's always something that's interested me, but I have never taken 1 minute of my time to actually step into it and investigate the different technologies used or kind of what it takes to do cybersecurity. But I think it's very interesting. A good first language. So a good first language should be whatever it is that you want to do with programming. Okay. So if you want to do like mobile apps, you should do iOS for iPhone apps, and then Android, Kotlin for Android apps. All right. Well, I guess it's Swift for iOS, right? Swift is the programming language. And then if you want to do web development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then I would dive into something like React. Somebody asked, can you join DevSlopes if you are from the UK? Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. We have students that live all across the world, and tons of students that are in the UK, and we work with everybody. Is 34 too old to change a career in tech? Absolutely not. So in our iOS Academy, we have a student, when he joined, he was 55 years old. All right. And after, I think, almost a year in the academy, he went and he got a job as an iOS developer. So he found employment, and he's 55 years old. So no, 34 is not too old to change careers. I was in my late 20s. I had 9 years experience in, another field, and then decided one day, I was like, I just want to code and be a developer. That's the lifestyle that I want. And so in my late 20s, I made the career change. So no, you're never too old. What do you think about the CS50 course? I don't know anything about it. All right, YouTube, how we doing? A little quiet over here. What's going on, Mikkel? Let's see. How much money does a web developer earn annually? So I answered this at the beginning of the stream. After a year of learning to code, I learned to code on my own. Okay, so self-taught developer. After about a year, of learning to code, my very, very, very first employment job started at 78,000. Okay. And then long story short, let's just say after 3 years, you should be making 6 figures or more as a web developer. Let's see. Do you think management information systems is a good career? I've never looked into it. I have no idea. Don't know anything about it. Darger, the Shadow World or Shadow Lord. Sorry. You could see how that says shadow. Oh, never mind. I'm like dyslexic. I read that so wrong. Anyways, where's the question? Is it mandatory learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to become a backend developer? So here's the thing. So JavaScript, yes, as a backend developer for sure, especially if the company that you're working for is using Node to write all the server-side code in, which is awesome. Learning HTML, CSS, yeah, it's you should be proficient in it, okay? Because in order to be a backend developer, there are incremental steps that you take. Even if your goal is just being backend, you have to understand how the front end works, okay? You have to understand how it receives data and how that data is injected into the UI. So you know different backend data architectures, okay? So and there are times that the backend developer might have to jump on some of the front end development as well. When I worked at Dell Computers as a full stack engineer, there was a gentleman who was solely did backend development. That's all he did, 100% backend. Okay, but every once in a while, there were times where there wasn't a front end developer available to build the front end for this new backend implementation that we needed to implement. And so he would jump on the front end and build out basic front end stuff, JavaScript to plug in the UI. And then later, another front end developer came in and cleaned it up and made it more beautiful, right? Because usually back end developers, they don't build the most beautiful UIs. I'm not going to say, that's never, but it is common. Roadmap to be a full stack mobile developer. Okay. So there's a couple of ways. So if you're doing mobile development, you've got a couple of options. Okay, iOS or Android native development. Okay, or you could do cross-platform like Flutter or React Native. Now, if you choose cross-platform, just understand that it's really ideal for freelancing. The industry hasn't adopted it quite yet to find a developer position with a company as a Flutter or React Native developer. React Native is gaining a little bit of traction, but you'll primarily find it in startups. Same with Flutter. Now, to go full stack, there's really, any, amount of tech that you want to use for the backend. So Firebase is popular. Firebase or Firestore is popular for a backend that works with both iOS and Android. You could do AWS. You could do, what's another one? You could really use anything. Like sky's the limit, really. Any, backend technology. Now there are other backend technologies that are a little bit more mobile friendly. That's why I had mentioned, Firestore, Firebase, and AWS. But it really depends. Just depends. Is there such thing as a cross-platform mobile developer? Yes, there is. Flutter, React Native, but like I just mentioned, that's going to be good for freelance work, not for getting a job. What do you think of cloud solutions like AWS and Kubernetes? I don't know how to pronounce that. Never heard of that second one that you mentioned there, but AWS, I am seeing a trend in the industry for more AWS developers. What's the less language for a network engineer to learn, if any? That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know any specifics. How do I make the move from development to data science? Well, it's not necessarily a huge jump. So a data science, you have to know a basics in programming. So I've never jumped into, data science or really, research the hardcore requirements. Like this is what we're looking for in a data scientist. So if you know development already, that's already a plus. You're a step ahead of the game. But go Google what kind of things that a data scientist need to know. Okay, you're learning that to freelance. That's awesome. Good job, Defeat. Can you make money by just knowing only CSS and HTML? Um, I suppose freelancing. I don't know any company that would ever hire someone that just does HTML and CSS. I'm sure there probably is, but the magic in building software and websites is a company wants you to be able to build software or websites that can do something. All right. That can handle data, can handle logic, that plugs into an API. If you just know HTML and CSS, you're not a necessity. Anybody can learn HTML and CSS. That takes that's one of the easiest steps into web development. And HTML and CSS aren't even programming languages. You're not even considered a programmer if you just do HTML and CSS. That's just a markup language and styling for the markup. JavaScript is where the meat and potatoes are, right? That's where the brains of the operation are, and that's what takes true. That's where the real work is involved. Let's just say that. If for some reason there is a company that out there that hires for just HTML and CSS, you're going to make a fraction of what you could make if you learn JavaScript. Let's see. Defeat. Should I learn full stack web dev before mobile dev? Last question. I'm writing my roadmap now. Thanks. So, should I learn full stack web dev before mobile dev? So, are you looking? Let me see your questions above here. I think you were asking about cross-platform development and full stack. Okay, so these are incremental steps. So if you are wanting, you talked about doing cross-platform and whatnot for, freelance work. Okay, so all of these are incremental steps. So if you are learning React and Flutter, you're going to learn some of the basics of those, like learn Flutter and or learn React Native, one of the two. Once you, and you're going to want to understand JavaScript. Okay, so you're going to want to learn those alongside with JavaScript to learn how to interact with those things. Okay, and then once you're proficient in that, okay, you're taking steps, then you will move into backend and learn how the backend works, and then learn how to use that in the front end, and then kind of combine the two together. So they're incremental steps. You don't do full stack and then dev. It just happens along the path. Learn Flutter, React Native, whatever, and then transition into backend. Let's see. Okay. Let's hop over to Instagram. Then we're going to get to TikTok, and then we'll do one more round with YouTube. We've got 8 minutes left, so we're going to breeze through some of these. I might not be able to get all of these. Okay. Let's see. Thoughts on the metaverse and opportunity for software engineers. The metaverse is interesting. I think trying to do things with it now was better than people when they were trying to do it a couple of years ago. But I think it's still very premature. Though I did hear, Facebook hired loads of engineers for this whole thing. But the real reality is there isn't job opportunity until the whole concept has met adoption. Like, I know Zuckerberg went out. Well, I heard and read that he went and hired like loads of developers, like just an army of developers for this whole metaverse thing. Well, guess what? To build version 1 of this product, it might take all these engineers, but if there isn't an adoption in the marketplace, if people don't adopt and use it, then there's no need for these developers. Just like blockchain development, it's starting to finally gain some traction. All right. But getting into the space, like, people need to adopt it. It needs to be user friendly for the public to use, and cryptocurrencies, like, for it to have the type of opportunity. Just like Flutter and React Native are awesome. Okay. But companies haven't quite adopted it yet because they're still developing native apps like iOS and Android. So I think the metaverse is interesting. I just haven't looked a ton into it for, the type of opportunity there is. I think app developer salaries is going to decline. Oh, we read that. That's personal opinion, unless you read articles about it. Everything in my experience, I don't see mobile app developer salaries declining. How long will it? Let's see. I answered these. Let's see, what else do we have? How can I improve my problem solving skills? You've got to do coding challenges. Okay, coding challenges are going to help you as a developer be more creative in solving problems and coming to a solution. So one thing that you could do is DevSlopes actually has 30-day code challenges for Swift and JavaScript. And whether you're brand new to programming or you have some experience already coding, then the challenge is for you. It's going to take your skills. It's going to level you up for sure. So you can go to 30daycodechallenge.com and sign up for the next challenge here that's starting in a couple of weeks. And again, you can choose from Swift or JavaScript. Okay, I'll say this again in slow motion, 30daycodechallenge.com. Okay, 30 with the number 30. And then there's websites like Code Wars or Project Euler are some other popular websites you can do coding challenges as well. Let's see, any other questions? This is a great question, Connor. Do I need to know about APIs for front end? Yes, you do. Now, you don't need to be like full-blown full stack developer expert, okay? But here's why you need to understand APIs, because as a front end developer, it is expected of you to be able to work with an API and pull that data and inject it into the front end, okay? So you just need to be able to work with the different endpoints that the backend developer has created and understand how to pull that data into the UI to inject it that way. Okay. So yeah, it's you got to know APIs. Someone asked how I'm doing today. I'm doing absolutely awesome. Every day is a great day when you're a coder. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna move to Instagram. We've got 4 minutes left. So we're going to do some Instagram questions and then I'll finish up with, or TikTok questions. This is TikTok, that's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Okay, let's see what we have here. Someone asked if I'm in Australia. No, I'm in Texas. Someone asked, is DevSlopes free? It is not free. It's an online boot camp. You get to work with a one-on-one mentor, coach. There's weekly live streams. I will personally review your code and I give you feedback with every assignment that you turn in. And then I work with you through the whole career prep, strategizing your resume, your LinkedIn, working with recruiters, salary negotiation, landing freelance work and getting a job and the whole tech interview process. So no, it's not free because I'm going to spend all my time investing in you to be successful. But it is worth it. I've got students already who haven't even finished the academy. They're making thousands of dollars freelancing. Okay. They've already made up the cost of the academy. And I have other students who have already landed jobs. Okay. And they're not even done with the academy. They're like, there's 16 modules and they're only like 9 or 10 modules in. They're already making money. Somebody asks Angular or React. So Angular and React are completely different in what they do. Okay. They're both component-based, single page application stuff, which is great. React is solely a UI library. Okay. That's it. It's a library for DOM manipulation. You get to build in components and whatnot. Anything else that you want in your app, you have to install. So for an example, if you want routing plugged into your app, you have to install packages for that. If you're doing API calls or any of that stuff, you have to bring in other packages. So that's one of the benefits of React is it's super lightweight, and then you get to cherry pick what you want to bring into it. All right. However, it does require more setup, but you have a faster, lightweight application. Angular is an end-to-end solution, ships with all the front-end stuff that you need, all the back-end stuff for HTTP requests, everything like that. And on top of that, Angular has a much steeper learning curve. You need to learn TypeScript, and there's loads of Angular-specific syntax, okay? It's just any tiny little thing you want to do with Angular, you're going to have to Google it because you need to use a very, very specific syntax to allow your TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript, to interact with Angular's components, okay? So that's why I always recommend for web development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then move into React, because React uses JavaScript in a way that you're already familiar with. All right, but Angular is very cool, and it's also very disciplined, very structured, highly opinionated about this is the way you do things, this is right, this is wrong, whereas React is a little bit more loosey-goosey in its architecture. Any advice for learning Kotlin? No. Scotty, learning Kotlin is great, just incremental steps at a time, and Kotlin is the choice by the Android community of what you should be learning over Java. So you're already on a good start. All right, one more question from TikTok, and then we're going to move over to YouTube. I'm a C# developer, and I need a job. You should just apply like crazy. Let's see. Okay. All right, I need to move over to YouTube, and then we're going to wrap this up. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm not going to be able to get to all the questions. All right, recommended IDEs for web development. So free, open source, Visual Studio Code is amazing. Okay, it's the most popular IDE out there for web development, and it's free. Paid editors, WebStorm by JetBrains, hands down the most incredible IDE text editor I have ever used. It is worth, to me, every single penny. Now, I've written both production code with Visual Studio Code and WebStorm, but WebStorm is like Visual Studio Code on steroids. It's incredible. Man, I should get paid. If you guys go and pay for the WebStorm IDE, I wish I got like, you know, a commission for that, but I don't. All right, let's see. Can you make money knowing only CSS and HTML? Yes, you can. Building static HTML sites for probably small businesses. But again, HTML, CSS is going to pay you the least. Introduce JavaScript, and it's going to open up insane opportunities for you. And you're going to make probably 2 to 3 times as much just knowing JavaScript. Okay. What advice do you provide someone who wants to learn to code on their own? Okay, I'm going to end with this question because we're past time. But YT28K Golden asked, what advice would you provide someone who wants to learn to code on their own? All right, I'm a self-taught developer. I learned to code on my own. The reality is it sucks. Okay, it completely sucked. And here's why. And then I'm going to give you some advice about what to do. Here's why it sucked. You're on your own. You don't know if what you're learning is what you need to learn to be actually successful in the field. You'll probably start out learning by whatever anybody tells you to learn. Say, oh, learn Python, it's the most popular, or start with C++, okay? The reality is you should learn the programming language that lines up with exactly what you want to do with what you want to code. Do you want to do websites and web apps? Learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Do you want to do iPhone apps? You're going to learn Swift. Do you want to build Android apps? You're going to learn Kotlin. Do you want to do machine learning and AI? You're going to learn Python. Okay, so you've got to pick a learning path, and then that determines what technology you want to learn. Now, the other best thing that you could do is you really need to find, unless you're insanely disciplined, okay, unless you're insanely disciplined and consistent with your learning, you need to find some way to be held accountable to your learning schedule and the time that you put in. Because if you just code 2 days, take a week off, code another couple of days, another few days off, you're not going to become successful learning to code. Okay, that's the reality. You can't take breaks. You're learning a new language, a new way to think, and a new way to write. Okay, it's too much to just randomly do. The other thing is there's so much content that is free, which is nice. But the problem is it's not really a curated guided learning path. It's just here's stuff about JavaScript, but it's very hard to find stuff that says here's how you apply JavaScript in the real world. Okay, in the real world. So find a development community that can support you in your learning, and then also a place where you can go ask other developers questions. I can't tell you how much I wish that while I was learning to code that I just knew another coder that I could ask a simple question to instead of wasting days going down a rabbit hole. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why I joined DevSlopes. I am the Web Academy instructor, mentor, teacher, and I help students learn how to code. Okay, I've been down that road. It sucks doing it on your own. So I work with students to teach them with a very curated guided learning path. And then I help them how to apply those skills to practical real world scenarios and then work with them through the career prep. It's one thing to learn something. All right, learn to code. Great. Bells and whistles, kudos. But how do you get a job? Okay, because there are such things, specific ways to strategize your LinkedIn, specific ways to set up a resume. There's technical interviews for a coding position, for a developer position. There can be anywhere from 3 to 8 technical interviews just to get the job. Okay, I work with students through that, what to expect. I work with them and help them land freelance work and teach them what to expect freelancing and the best practices. I help them land a job, how to work with recruiters, how to negotiate salaries. So anyways, I'm going like way over here, but I feel like that's an important thing because for everybody that is learning to code on your own, it is so easy to get sucked down a rabbit hole and learn the wrong things and not the essentials to be successful in the market. Okay. And that's why DevSlopes has the DevSlopes Academy. You can enroll, but we don't accept everybody. We want people who are serious about changing their life. And if you are serious about making a life change and earning a killer salary and working remotely from home, I will work with you and put all my blood, sweat, and tears into helping you become successful. Okay. So anyways, if you're interested in some mentorship, guidance, all of that amazing stuff, go to devslopes.com/apply and just get set up with a free call. Ask any questions you want with the about DevSlopes and all the different pricing options. And if Jason is cool enough to work with, all right, I'm sure they'll say good things. Anyways, that's a wrap for today's stream. So again, if you want to work one-on-one with somebody like me to learn how to code that will hold you accountable, devslopes.com/apply. If you want to take your skills and level up with your programming skills, then go to 30daycodechallenge.com. DevSlopes has these awesome 30-day code challenges for Swift and for JavaScript. So go check those out. So that's a wrap for today's stream. I will see you same time tomorrow. And until then, stay safe, stay positive, and keep coding. Adios. Thanks, everybody.